All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Assembled. Today is once again the Avengers weekly recap, joined as always by Stardust here. Stardust, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, mate.
That's all you got for me. I'm doing all right, mate.
It sounds really weird listening to someone who's not British say the word mate. Like,
Why?
but
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't fit. Like, I am. Oh no, I can't say this on. But
We're
it's
already
just
off to a great start.
it sounds funny. I have a load of I'm friends with people from like around the globe, right? And listening to
Yes.
them call me mate now that I use it a lot in front of them is the
Yes.
weirdest thing because it just seems like such a British and Australian thing to
Mm.
say, mate.
It is actually. It is. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Though, hope everyone's had a good week. Stardust and I are going to be talking about the Cosmic Cube. We're going to be talking about the OLT news. And we're going to be talking about the Miller leaks as well. And I think that covers everything this week, right, Stardust?
I think so, mate. I think so indeed. I
Okay,
think so.
mate. All right, so
Ugh.
let's talk about the Cosmic Cube. So I gave my
Ugh.
thoughts this week early about the Cosmic Cube. Both I think I only did the villain sector itself, not the event.
Okay.
But the villain sector itself I thought was a lot of fun. It's not, like burn down the barn kind of situation. It's not the greatest thing to ever grace this game. But for me, I thought the Cosmic Q Villain Scepter was a step up in the right direction of this game. I don't know if you agree or disagree on that. What do you think?
I think that well, I mean, first of all, let's just that we complain we don't well we complain fairly, right?
Yes.
That a lot of
Yes.
reused things in this game. There's a lot of reused assets, a lot of reused environments, like the labs and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think this mission was a really good example of how you can do that and still make it look fresh. Because
Right.
obviously we've been to the tundra loads of times. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yep.
so we know what snow looks like. We know like, but to go into spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, I imagine everyone has. But
Hmm.
like parts like when you go through and you go to the big open area before you go into the elevator bit, and there's those like generators in the
Yep.
water
In the water.
at a
Yep.
distance. I thought stuff like that, big things in a distance, just make it seem so much bigger than it
Hmm.
actually is. Because for us, it's a linear path essentially, but
Right.
having these big fucking spaces out in the wild,
Hmm.
it's really nice stuff. And they kept going, so you go through the mission, go in the underground base, which again we have done this before, but because they varied it with the puzzles where you stand on the panel, shoot the shit, and you
Hmm.
keep going, and it's got this nice purpley vibe in the water because of the cosmic cubes like radiation
Right.
and stuff.
Yep.
Again, it adds to that, like we've been here before, but at least it's different.
It.
And
Yeah.
then
Sorry.
we got to the main bit with the cube. We got to go on these panels and stand there, but it's like all around it and in the middle. Again, something we've done before, but turned up way more. So you've got way
Right.
more going on. You've got a lot of chaos. You've got to go into the middle bit where it's
Hmm.
swarming with enemies. It was quite intense. Again, going on each of the computers, destroying each of the generator things. Nothing groundbreaking, but it was different.
Hmm.
Attacking the cosmic cube again, something that's not fucking crazy, but it was nice.
Yep.
And then obviously the boss fight itself. Now, if you were a melee character, I think this would be like Dark Souls for you fellas, right?
Yeah, it was tough, man, because I play like a melee Captain America, and it's not the easiest thing as a melee character for sure.
Which is interesting because in a way, right? Not
Mm.
if there was more boss fights in this game,
Yes.
100%, especially when loadouts come out, a
Hmm.
build, not every build should work with every boss, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Like, because that asks for experimentation. That means like, okay, well, this one could do with range, so I need to have that in my loadout, and then it's so on and so forth. But I played
Right.
ranged on a lot of my characters, so my experience with this boss fight was actually quite it was fun. It was nice looking, but I didn't have much difficulty with it.
Right.
because obviously I'm ranged on a lot of my people. So
Mm,
essentially for me, once I realised that Moniker's countdown was essentially you've got to hurt her enough for her to stop,
yep.
it was pretty like, okay, fair enough, right? I know what I'm doing now. But realistic, to be honest with you, everything was really good. Everything was right in the direction that I wanted to see this game go. And considering that, sorry to just go off the Cosmic Cube thing
Yo, you're
really
good.
quick,
You're good. Yeah, of
but
course.
considering the OLT,
Mm-hmm.
um, like considering the OLT is obviously going to be based on the boss fight, really. That's their thing. I think they're really trying to push with this OLT is the boss fight. It's going to be the thing, right? The main thing. So it
Right.
seems that they're really going out of their way to give us some really cool boss fights, which I think is one thing that people have been begging for since the game came out. So it's a good step. And obviously
Yeah.
we got that really cool tease at the end,
Mm-hmm.
which was right up my street. I thought it was awesome. People have been speculating in my friend group all
Right.
week. It's been quality. So I mean,
Well,
it's been a result.
yeah. I mean, really quick, just to touch on the Cosmic Cube stuff. One of the best ways to explain it is like, um, all for the last, I guess we're getting close to almost a year now. We've been eating chicken, right? The whole game's like your normal chicken, right? But what they're doing now is they're starting to add a little seasoning to the chicken. They're starting to cut it different ways. They're starting to kind of deep fry it or do whatever, right? Like you're still getting chicken, but you're getting chicken in different ways to kind of change up the experience of eating chicken, right? Different side dishes to go with it, right? Like, and you guys could tell I'm probably hungry. That's why I'm using this analogy. But like the idea is that by doing different things with these boss fights, you're still getting a lot of the same stuff, but you're basically spicing it up a little bit to kind of differentiate what the actual experience is, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to explain it. I think like having these things different. I mean, I'm hungry now to be honest. So that's like
Yeah,
that's
I feel
stress.
like I'm
But
gonna make a lot of people hungry, unfortunately.
watch all the viewers just drop now because everyone's off to go order KFC or something.
Honestly,
Like you
I
have
really
to.
wouldn't I really wouldn't blame them, to be honest with you. KFC sounds pretty good right now. I won't lie. Okay, so now that we've kind of got the Cosmic Cube itself out of the way, what about the event? Now, my biggest concern that I put this on Twitter was that it might be an event that is stretched out for 2 weeks, right? The mission chains itself. Now, the mission chains themselves and the rewards they give it, I thought were pretty good, right? We know OLTs are coming, next month, and this next month is like literally like 3 days away, right? And then and then I think it's personally coming out on my birthday, which is the 13th, but that's irregardless of the conversation being made. Um, the point is like the actual event itself and the rewards I thought were very good. You get two exotics for your character of choice, and then you get an exotic on all the characters you may play. That to me is pretty good when you got something coming up that you're gonna have to grind for, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the event it had a lot of the feedback that we've kind of been begging for. So obviously when I jumped in, it was like because it wasn't a built up event, it didn't have to because the whole thing of it was the villains really, right? So that was the
Yes.
build up. So
Yes.
the event kind of came suddenly. It was only mentioned after E3,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I believe. And then so the rewards were really good.
Right.
The 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 cosmic threat sectors were really cool change. They're visually different. I was a bit worried that when these were mentioned, if it was gonna look like Tachyon, they'd only do it in Tachyon places. So, where we've got like and we're back
Uh
is one mistaken
sure.
identity. But there was a few different ones because obviously the Eastern Seaboard ones that enter the Avengers was one, which was really cool. I really like that environment, nighttime and Eastern Seaboard for it. Um, but yeah, no, it was really good. It was different
Mm.
visuals. The loot was worth it to go and grind for when it comes to the different mission chains.
Yep.
My only issue, and it's been the same as all the other events, man, is that I
Yeah.
want something to do afterwards. Like, because I've done all the mission chains, because I'm a big nerd.
Right.
So to give me like all these mission chains to grind for, give me those exotics. It's like, yeah, cool. Now you're allowing me to go and experiment with these
Mm-hmm.
things. I understand that. And because it's not a hyped up event, I'm not bothered by it. but are
Sure.
giving us something maybe like, I don't know, a higher chance to get exotics from a Tachyon Rift, like Tachyon Anomaly or something, or maybe better rewards from beating the odds might have been a good way to keep people grinding. Because even if the Moniker exotic one refreshes next week, which I
Yeah.
think you mentioned it might
I
do,
think Sonic said that there's a chance that one might refresh. Yeah.
mm, it's not really like enough to say I'm still in an event because I can
Right.
still play the cosmic threat sectors, but the rewards don't.
They're not there
They're
anymore.
not. They're not different, are they,
Hmm.
compared to like the other stuff we'll get? You know.
Right. I wonder if the
Oh wow! Hold on, John. You got to acknowledge that one, mate.
Oh yeah, I gotta notice this one. Holy shit. Greg with the 100 says thanks for the content, Clint. Here's some compensation for your entertainment. Maybe finish Marvel Legend Wave for Sam Wilson Wings. I don't know, up to you. Uh
Oh,
dude, I guess I have to now, man. Greg, thanks a lot, bro. Holy shit, man. Thank you so much, dude. I can't
thank
say
you,
thank
Greg.
Yeah, I can't say thank you enough. I'll buy Stardust dinner now that that's coming through. Dude, thanks a lot, bro. That's crazy. Jeez.
Nice one, Greg. Good, good.
Oh,
Thank you, buddy.
dude,
Thank you for High Roller.
dude, I my train of thought's been fucked now. Shit. My train of
Miles,
thought.
like Stardust gonna start asking a revenue split.
Yeah, he has. Trust me. Okay, where was my train of thought going? Oh, sorry, my train of thought. So one of the ideas that I think should be floated around now is, say for example, you do all your mission chains, right? Now, say for
Hmm.
example, there's a 2 week period that your mission chains go for, right? Now, say for example, you're a hardcore nerd like you and you finish them within like 2 days, right? I wonder if a
Yeah.
solution for this would be you're able to trade in a bunch of currency, like, or yeah, like currency or whatever, like all the
Yeah.
materials you got, and then your mission chains reset. Now we're talking like a very high amount, right? Like we're talking like these are for the ultimate grinders kind of situation, right? But it might be
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
interesting solution there in order to kind of give the hardcore players more incentive to go back and play it after they've done all their mission chains, right? If they don't want to reset them, because like say for example, the difference between someone like you and someone who's just kind of casually playing is that it may take 2 weeks for someone to actually get through all those mission chains, but for someone like you, it takes 2 hours. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well,
maybe there's a solution there where they're able to kind of give a way for players to kind of give back their currency, and then it's a transaction and then basically you're able to kind of just like reset your mission chains and go through.
Well, I think we've mentioned before that like event currency of any form would be really cool. Like, I still
Yeah.
want to see an event like vendor where you
Yep.
go to it and you get like stuff that you couldn't get anywhere else. You can maybe purchase. So, for example, they've released these, what are they called? Razor skins, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
fuck putting them in the marketplace. What you do is you put them in that event vendor, and obviously you get a shit because we got so many units for starters that we just don't need, right?
Yes.
So if you want to, but if we just want to go for a completely new currency, which I don't think is necessary, but anyway, we could, you could buy those skins with it. You could buy like more exotics. You could buy like a random exotic or
Mm.
something. You could buy
Yeah.
like this, that, and the other. It'd be really cool.
Yep.
Or we could do exactly what you said, but maybe you could get it from this vendor. So maybe you could get like reset your mission chains.
Mm.
And obviously you can go in, buy that, your mission chains reset. So say for me, for example, I could grind that up, reset, I then grind the mission chains, I want more exotics, keep going. It's an endless thing. So yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I think there's ways to improve upon it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the format they have now, like here's like the format is like release something and then do mission chains after to kind of tie it all together. I think right now is they need to figure out ways to kind of give it legs. You know what I mean? I think the legs just die on it too quickly. And then if they figure out the legs part, then you solve the whole thing essentially, right? Then you just got to like figure out like rewards or whatever, And for me, exotics are a pretty good reward, Essentially right now, like I think we were saying yesterday, right? Tachyon rifts are like kind of a small drop rate, right? I think it's like 5 to 10%. Last Avenger Standing's bugged, and then Mega Hive, you're one and done for the week on one character, right? So during these event times, they should be grindable to the point where it's like the amount of time I put in isn't maybe it's not 1-to-1 with the amount of rewards I get, but there's always rewards to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure. I think that when we get into like events like this, I think one of my favorite examples of what they've done so far is actually with Tachyon Anomaly, which was their first one.
yes,
Because now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was getting like exotics all the time, so I feel like the rate of
yes,
exotics dropping from Tachyon wrist was way higher, which
right,
in turn gives you the incentive to at least play each Tachyon rift because it rotated more than just one day. So you got like
mm,
three chances to do one go a day.
right,
So you obviously you get an exotic, you work, you build, level that up. Same thing again, and it was continuously happening,
hmm,
and I had a reason to get on every single day.
right,
Obviously, we know about the other events afterwards. They nothing to then really not worth even talking about, to be honest.
right,
But this
right.
this one, even though like the rewards are a lot better, there's the cosmic threat sectors are quite nice. It's something sort of newish
Hmm.
to add. It's still, like you said, all it needs is a bit of legs. And I think
Yep.
that giving it legs means that people can happily cling to that for a good while. Like, if you
Hmm.
needed, like, say July wasn't OLTs and stuff, say we lived in that horrible world, but they gave this event grind material
Yeah.
like non-stop. You could stretch this event out for as long as you needed until next content drop. You
Yeah.
could,
You could
and
theoretically. Yeah.
people wouldn't be on the next dev stream begging for new content as much
Hmm.
because they still have things they can do if they
Right.
choose to.
Right. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I think it's the best way to put it. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit now because I know people want to talk about so many things that happened this week, right? The roadmap, patrol mode, but I think honestly we got to start with OLTs, right? We go OLTs and then we'll break
Yeah.
it down into patrol mode got pushed and so on and so forth. So let's do OLTs now because to me, I said this on Twitter. Was it Sunday morning? No, today's Sunday. It was Saturday morning. It was 6 a.m. Saturday morning. And I had honestly just gotten off the game, right? And I was like, I've been playing. I was playing all night, man, essentially. Because like now it feels like I have something to go for, like I'm grinding towards something now, right? Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel that's telling me to run towards it now, right? And I feel like now that we have this confirmation that OLTs are coming to the game, I wonder if there's now more enthusiasm to the player base, right? Not necessarily players who aren't playing the game, but players who are still actively playing the game. Because now it's like, I'm not just grinding the grind anymore. It's like now I'm grinding with a purpose in mind. And this is what I've been saying for months now, right? Give players a reason to grind towards something, and players will grind, right? And now it's like
Yeah.
OLTs are coming. And to me, I'm super pumped. I don't know if anyone else is super pumped in the chat. I mean, I imagine you're super pumped. But like to me now, it's like now we're starting to see like, at least for me personally, like my enthusiasm come back, my want and desire to play the game. Now I feel like I'm ready to kind of like get into the game now. You know what I mean? Whereas before, for the
Yeah.
last few months, I've been kind of like pedaling here and like not really kind of playing and then playing sometimes, and it's just like now I'm like, okay, now we know something's coming. Let's get back into it. You know?
Well, it's not just that either, but like for me, for example, like obviously I play the game a lot anyway, but I
Yes.
found like a new one even with this villain sector because like even today I've had friends who message me who haven't played a lot being like, yo, can you help me out with this villain sector? I'm having
Hmm.
a terrible time of it because they're like a melee character, right? So I'm like,
Right.
okay, sure. And because I've been playing like a fuck ton and getting used to all the, getting even more comfortable with builds and stuff like that,
Hmm.
I'm able to go through it with ease and feel like an absolute don because I can do it now,
Right.
Whereas
Right.
so that's pretty cool that more friends are playing this game, which means that you've got more reasons to play as well. But like you said, with Omega level threats around the corner, it just feels like there's a new sort of a new life that's been pushed into this game in the current player base,
Yeah.
which is something that I think that was needed before they start worrying about outside people was get the people who are
Right.
still in the game now comfortable, happy, something to grind, go
Mm-hmm.
for it. You
Yep.
call, and then once we're all distracted playing with our toys, you can then try and get the other people to get involved and get more people in. That's how it should always work. You start off with your roots,
Yep.
and then you branch out. But they were trying to do so much at once. They ended up pushing away people who were in the circle
Mm-hmm.
and keeping people out who wanted to get in. And now I think they realise that. So, like for example, them pushing out patrol to focus on OLTs,
Yep.
definitely a better decision, 100%.
Yeah, I
My
agree.
only
I agree.
my only fear now is, and the only thing I'm worried about, because I know that Phil mentioned that this is going to be, and by the way, again, I want to point out really good communication to let us know this will just be essentially a much more difficult version of Kate's mission until
Mm-hmm.
we get to the boss, where Super Adapter is going to have more
New
abilities and stuff
abilities
like
and
that.
stuff. Yeah. Yep.
News,
Mm-hmm.
So, which, by the way, fair enough, because you could have not have answered that. You could have let everyone assume this is a brand new fucking mission, 100%, all the way through, and then obviously people would have jumped on and it would have been, woo!
Yeah.
But so,
I mean, I've seen a little bit of conversation around that, and to me, I view it as like a Destiny strike, right? Like a Grandmaster Nightfall strike for anyone who's familiar, right? So it's like some of the strikes in Destiny are like just basically repurposed story missions that you've gone through the campaign and done, and some of them are brand new experiences, right? So for me, I'm viewing this as like a strike situation, and it's Nightfall, and it's super hard. So I know I've seen a little bit of disappointment, kind of expressed around, the community, and I, to a degree, I can understand, where they're at. But for me personally, I look at this as like, it's like a strike system. Some are going to be pulled from the campaign. Some of them are going to be brand new experiences. But all in all, I mean, like, I think just seeing what Super Adaptoid's going to throw at us is the most exciting part, right? Like, if Super Adaptoid is as different with new abilities as they may claim it to be, then I think a lot of the stuff going around saying like it's the same mission, blah blah blah, I think a lot of that goes out the window personally,
well, I think it's not just that as well, but the leaked name for this was Resolution.
Yes.
I think right. And Resolution, like, it makes it sound like it is a different mission because it's a different name than the mission it's based on.
Right.
Going back to Family Reunion is again really like honest
Mm-hmm.
because it is. It's an OLT version of Family Reunion. They didn't hide from that again, which
Right.
again you've got to respect that because a lot of this game has done is in the past not been great with communication. They're being honest
That's
with
how I
these
that's
things,
how I made my
even
channel,
during.
man.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
all, yeah, like that's how you dragged me in. You were like, dude, I'm a really good YouTuber. I really want you on the show. It's like, okay, man, all right, I'll check my
True.
schedule.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Um, no, but it sounds really good. I'm just hoping the loot side of it is worth it because I remember during the Square Enix Presents where they showed the Super Adaptoid gear, the chest piece
Didn't
was
seem the greatest. That's
no.
right. That's
So
right.
I'm hoping that a lot of because bearing in mind they've got to make other Omega level threats, so I
Mhm.
understand that not every single gear piece you get for every single character is going to be
But
absolutely elite
you know
level.
what? You know what? One of the biggest complaints I had from moving from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 was strike specific loot. So for anyone who played Destiny 1 had strike specific loot. So every strike had like its own piece of loot that you could get out of the strike. They kind of did away with that with Destiny 2. I haven't played enough to know if they brought that back or not. I think there was some discussions around it. So if every OLT has loot specific to that OLT, that to me is solving an issue they didn't even know I had. Like so like honestly, if even one of the pieces is good, that to me is worth it, right? It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a full set is good. Just give me like one or two pieces that I can slot into a build that really like, amplifies that build's power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if each gear piece does what it's not just random shit, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's gear pieces that could benefit builds like
Yep.
actually and change the tide, then I think it's worth it. You know, even if it's stuff like, so for example, that Iron Man piece, I can't remember the perks, but it was a lot of cosmic defense kind of things. Like, if you want to go tank for Iron Man, fuck
Yeah.
it, get it. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yep.
it could be the way forward. Like, you could work something with it, and I
Hmm.
think that's the way to go. You know, as long as they make sure that it's all worth it, then yeah, I think it'd be
I,
worth
I,
grinding.
I mean, one of the things that we don't know yet is like how are builds that we have now going to be like impacted by this OLT, right? Like, I know we've talked a little bit. I think we've talked privately about like build powers and stuff like that. I've talked a little bit about power creep and how to like account for like power creep when you're doing stuff like this. But like in all honesty, these OLT item pieces might actually be good because we might have to change around our builds anyways to be able to farm these efficiently.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's right. Like, for example, usually in these kind of missions in other games, the loot from these missions help you kind of get through the same mission a bit better. Not
Right.
easier necessarily, but kind of just
Sure.
help you along the way. So I think that, like, say, for example, we got like, oh God, I can't think of one at the top of my head. Don't hurt me. But
Mhm.
if there's a bunch of gear here that can sort of push you into being more tanky for Iron Man, for example, right? If that's kind of what. So if they look at each of these characters for the Super Adaptoid and they'd be like, okay, we can put gear in here that can
Mhm.
impact, tank builds in the defense and heroic slot, and we can go for like pure DPS in the top and the range slot. I
Mhm.
think stuff like that would be really cool, because
Yep.
again, you're grinding for specific pieces. And again, I'm basing all the loot off one fucking chess piece.
That we saw in like it was like a split second
It's
too
sort
that
of
we
like,
pulled.
yeah,
Yeah.
like what, 2 months ago, something like that. So
Yep.
again, there's a lot of characters, those poor not war table, science table people gonna have to look at, like, which is really exciting.
Honestly, I think just knowing that like there's loot and like here's the thing that I don't think people are gonna like about it is that it glows green, right? So the IGN article that came out in March specified that the loot actually glows green. I don't know if they've kept that in or not. To me, I actually kind of want to see that glow, like it glows green, because I'm a sucker for stuff like that, right? That's why I bought the monatomic skin, right? Because I'm a sucker for like the visual effects or
Oh,
whatnot.
do you think it'll glow green on the character?
I actually think so. Yeah. I actually like
Nah,
what why
man,
else why
sorry.
else would you don't think so? Oh man, I actually kind of
No.
hope so. I kind of hope so because like I'm a huge sucker for that. So like whenever I play like MMOs for example, right? You get like aura pieces that like you have the aura around. I'm a sucker for stuff like that, 100%. So like if I get a piece that I can pick up and it glows green on my character, I know I already could see people are going to be upset about it, but for me personally, I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I want that." You know what I mean? But I know it's like
Uh,
it's
the
one of
reason
those.
the reason I don't think that's the case is because in that trailer we're talking about, obviously, in the like the menus, the heroes like pose with the items. There
Mhm.
is no green on Iron Man's chest.
I mean, I have to go back and read that article on IGN then, but it did say something about glowing green. So, but I know there's a lot of
It's
people.
glowing green on the gear pieces, so the gear logos are green.
That's so. Never mind. That's stupid. I want my character to. Never mind. My hype just went out the window. You killed me, dude. You killed me.
Sorry, bro.
No, it's fine, dude. It's fine. I honestly wanted something like like I'm totally opposite of a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people they want the options to turn that stuff off. You know what I mean? I'm actually of the opinion turn that shit up. Like or at least give me the option to. Like I want my guy to look like a walking like Christmas tree, essentially.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like more color the better, really. And I think that was one of the biggest
Yeah.
compliments with Guardians of the Galaxy, was like
The
it's
the vibrant
colorful.
the vibrance of the
And it
color
feels
scheme.
vibrant, yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly.
I think that was like one of the best things about Cosmic Cube as well, is that it was quite colourful. 'Cause you had the really bright, snowy
Mm.
area, then you had the really rainbowy like water, obviously the big glow from the Cosmic Cube, and of course
Yep.
the final boss arena was really sick as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be everything doesn't need to be like the muted colors, you know what I mean? Like lean into some of that like more crazy color styles. And I think people would be
Yeah.
happy with that, right? Cuz I think um one of the things is like as we start to get into like more costumes that accentuate the colors and provide more colors to the character, right? I think we'll start to see people kind of latch on to that. That's my opinion,
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah,
So
I think so too. Like, but so yeah, so sorry to ruin your hopes, dude. But yeah,
yeah,
we won't
that's
be
fine,
seeing any
man.
neon glowing Iron Mans today.
That's fine. You know what? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Because honestly, I love stuff like that, man. I love like in World of Warcraft you get a new item and the item has a glow to it. Fuck yeah, dude. Like like I know I'm on the island alone, just like I've been on the Stormbreaker island alone, and we might have to talk about that again. But sometimes being on the island alone means that there's more room for you, I guess, right?
I ain't going on that fucking island
Uh,
with you. You'll be full of hormones, bro.
all right. Well, I guess the island's all by myself then. Okay, so that's OLTs done. I think we're making good time today, so you can relax and rest up from your COVID vaccine.
Thanks, bro. I still got my sticker on.
Do you actually? They gave you a sticker? Did he give you a
It
lollipop
did, yeah.
too?
They didn't
No.
give me a lollipop, but my fiance like made a big deal out of not getting a sticker, so I laughed at her in front of everyone who was waiting for this COVID
I
jab.
can't.
It was
I
really
can't
awkward.
believe they gave you the sticker though.
What do you mean?
Anyways,
I was a really good fucking patient. I love you, know, sir.
love it,
You should
dude.
have seen it when I rolled my sleeves up. Fuck me,
Yeah.
the amount of tensing and flexing I was doing, mate. Oh, jeez.
Were you nervous?
Nah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I'm too tough to be nervous. Bro.
That's
You
true.
know
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Okay. So, do you want to touch? We've touched a little bit on patrol mode, but I think the idea is that based on what we saw out of patrol mode, well, I think I've actually been waiting to talk about this with you because it seems like the decision for patrol mode took place within like a month span. So, why I'm saying that is that like it was like a month period there where we went from Phil saying we just need to get some approval signed up, then we'll show it to you guys. And then it was the E3 trailer. Then after the E3 trailer, it's like, oh, it's actually being knocked out, and we'll move back half of the year, right? My question is like, how did that come about? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we saw it from the E3 trailer, and everyone was a bit suspicious that they kind of went Wasteland. Okay, right next Wakanda, and it was
Right.
a bit like, oh, hold on, lads, I want to look at a little bit more of this. And
Yeah.
considering that their biggest advertisements were there's bosses and there's chests about, it's like, yeah, no shit, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
That's that. It
come
did
on,
it.
bro.
The
Like,
energy.
that's a
The energy I was
that's
radiating, and I'm stealing that from right there. The energy that it was radiating was like, this is not even close to being done. You know?
Yeah, like that was sort of the feeling I had as well. And what we were gonna get was gonna be really based. Don't get me wrong. I imagine we'd have been able to play it just fine. It's just
Mhm.
very bare bones.
Bare
and
bones. Yep.
I could feel that there was more that could have been done here, and more they want to be done.
Hmm.
I imagine like a couple of things. Just Phil mentioned that we might see Super Adaptoid in other places, but not Villain Sector. Could go in Wasteland Patrol. Some of the villains, probably not Claw though, in Wasteland Patrol. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
we're spoiling that yet until we talk about it.
Right.
And things like that. There's a lot that you could add to Wasteland Patrol to make it,
To
feel
flesh
more
out the
lively.
experience. Yep.
Yeah, not just that. Maybe they want to see how far they can push the engine,
Mm.
because obviously, if they play it themselves or they got play testers in, and people are a bit like, it still feels a little bit dead. Maybe
Yeah.
they're thinking, right, let's find ways to put more enemies in without absolutely fucking tanking the game. Like,
Yep.
so I mean, for me personally, if the patrol mode had come out literally as the way they advertise, so random villains, there's chests, I wouldn't have hated it. It would have been okay. It's just not something I would have gotten lost in for hours. I would have played it for a little bit and got bored, like the events and stuff like that.
Right.
But patrols aren't supposed to be that. You're supposed to make them addicting so people just don't want to leave, right?
Mhm.
So you do that, you trap people in this really addicting patrol mode, and then you can work on your other shit. So it's good that they're taking time to work on that, because then we can eventually play a very fulfilled one. And what if people really like Wasteland, You don't have to change much. Just put it in different places, and you've got something there. People will be more than happy for you to highlight how big a deal an Eastern Seaboard Patrol mode is
Mm,
because of Marvel Heroes. That would hype shit up. Like you could do
right.
an entire roadmap space of that because people would be so excited. So once they've got this system nailed, and they can work with it so well.
One of the things I just wonder like how far they can push it because like I think when we start looking at like the stuff to grind for really like what do players grind for essentially right now, right? It's like upgrade modules, polychron, and exotics. To a degree you can grind for certain legendaries, right? So like
Yeah.
how do you enhance patrol mode to kind of make that experience better for the average player, right? Like, do you give patrol mode a, percentage chance on any exotic to drop? Do you kind of give an abundance of resources? Technically, bosses, villain sectors or whatever don't have exotics that drop on them. Do you tie in exotic drops with these bosses that can show up in patrol mode? If you do that, do you kind of wash away villain sectors then? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like it might be in a weird spot right now in terms of the rest of the game. So where do you carve out patrol mode's own kind of place within the game, but not try to encroach on a lot of the other stuff that players play right now?
You are right in the sense of if Wasteland Patrol
Mm-hmm.
gives a bunch of resources, exotics drop
Yeah.
from random enemies or bosses at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point in going anywhere else? And that's
Right.
that's that's a fear. Like, and I can't think of any way they could rectify that. So what? So because you played Marvel Heroes and I didn't, right? How did the patrol mode not take away from the other stuff in the game, or was
So
or was the game essentially patrol mode?
no, I mean the game wasn't essentially patrol mode, but like in all honesty, from my memory, so it was years ago. My memory of patrol mode, and I would have to talk to like Jay Shockblast might be a better person because I think he was actually making content on the game at the time, so it might be good to tap into his knowledge. But from my knowledge of patrol mode, a lot of the time it was super busy to grind out XP. Right, you do Midtown Monday, you pop all your XP boosts, and you go into Midtown and you just grind out there. You could get
Yeah.
cool. Of course, like as like different bosses showed up, you get like different boss artifacts and different boss items, right? So like there was a good chance that like you could go into patrol, get your XP, and then these bosses were gonna drop items specific to those bosses. But like a lot of the time for me, it felt like I was just gonna go in there to grind out XP. That was just me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
I think in
I
that
but
case,
I
then I could definitely see XP resources and stuff being the fact, like the big reasons to go in there.
right. I think it's
But
just it's one of those weird things where like you kind of like you might start phasing out villain sectors depending on how you do this. You know what I mean? Like because like villain sectors like I said there's no boss artifacts. There's no boss items, right? So there's nothing to really say like, you have to go into a villain sector. But, if you start giving boss items to some of these bosses, then maybe you can kind of like tie it into different rewards here and there. Like I think there's ways to do it, but like you got to like have your reward structure be like in such a way that you're not kind of phasing out one place or another. It's probably very difficult to figure that out, I imagine.
I imagine it is as well, because obviously you don't want to have one mission be like the place where
The
you
place
go
to
in,
be,
you get all
yeah.
that, and
Yep.
then you leave everywhere else, like the rest of your game, feeling pretty bare bones. However, it sounds like a really good place to be grinding when your heroes are very low level and stuff like that,
Mm,
unless they have like a power level cap, which they could do. In all fairness, if they want to make that like an end game, like grindy area, then they could do that. I definitely think that like resources being a big reason to jump in, potentially exclusive gear to Wasteland Patrol, because that's the thing as well. Like villain sectors have their own gear, right? And as much as not everyone will like them, I'm sure they can adjust and stuff as the game
sure.
progresses. If the villain sectors can have like not villain sectors, the patrol can have like its own exclusive gear and stuff like that. That'd be
That's
pretty
true.
cool. They
That's
they
true.
did mention we could get like assignments in Wasteland Patrol. So again, that's another incentive, right? So
I think we just solved the issue. Just give it a gear set.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Wow. See,
I think
look at
that's it,
we're
man. Yeah.
we're literally game designers. This is so easy. Literally
Yeah,
game designers.
PogChamp. We literally
PogChamp.
all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and get my fucking phone app right now and make a bunch of animated nameplates, boys.
Don't do that. You're Stardust. We were off to such a good podcast today, dude. Such a good podcast today. Okay. So patrol mode done. I think it's time we get into the heart and the meat of a lot of what's going on. You ready for this?
Let's talk about this.
All right, dude. It's time for the leaks from Miller. All right. So 3 days ago, Miller had some leaks, and I guess leaks, that he was able to kind of get from a variety of sources. And I didn't see the tweet up on his Twitter right now, so I'm going to use the Reddit post from Billy. And so the Reddit post from Billy, I'll link it in chat for anyone who wants to follow along with me. And we're going to get into all this juicy stuff.
I've got the thread.
The Twitter thread?
The actual Twitter thread, yeah.
Oh, yeah, please. I didn't see that on his Twitter. Maybe I'm blind. That's why I'm wearing my glasses today. If you just want to link it to me, big guy, if you don't mind. Please,
Why
thank you.
Big guy?
I'm just trying to hype you up,
you
man.
kind of tickled me a little bit when you said that. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, dude.
All right, I've put it in general on your
Discord? Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, dude, I was so blind. All right. So it's broken down into 4 tweets. So the first one says, updates to existing outfits are in consideration. Example, the Mcu Hawkeye with different hair. No Ultron in War for Wakanda. The second villain is Crossbones. Black Panther Heroics. The Kimoyo Spear. Spear Assault. Panther Ultimate. Now that's the first tweet. Second tweet. More free cosmetics returning with 2.0. I imagine that's the cosmetic rework, right? I would have to think.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Because you got to remember that Black Panther will come with his own free cosmetics as well.
Sure. Okay. Next says more weapon skins incoming. New enemy types from both existing factions, which is AIM and Watchdogs, in addition to the Spider Bots. Horde Mode, new faction joining Inhuman Alliance and Shield. Then that's the second tweet. The third one says mining facility raid not coming day and date with War for Wakanda. Super Adaptoid OLT, and then that's obviously the stuff we got. So the news on that. And then he stresses on the fourth tweet that the people making decisions on cosmetics are right now gathering opinions on hair accuracy. If Mcu Hawkeye wasn't something you bought because he was bald, then express that you would buy him if he had hair. So there's quite a bit to break down here. The first and foremost thing that I think we should talk about is Crossbones, right? We just come off this tease with Ultron. You know, maybe it's setting something up for Ultron in War for Wakanda, and then all of a sudden it's like the rug's kind of pulled out from you, and it's like Crossbones is going to be in Wakanda. This to me was like
I'm not. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, even though the rug was pulled out from me on Ultron, I feel like replacing him with Crossbones isn't that big of a deal. You know, I think, if we go back to what you were saying, that, you want to build Ultron up slowly, you want to give him his own place, his own platform. Replacing him, or not necessarily replacing, but putting Crossbones in, who is technically a smaller villain, right? And giving him that side villain role to claw, I think is a really good move.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. The thing is, as well, is you've got to remember that having Ultron be teased, like ever so slightly in the last one, it wasn't even a tease. It was more like, yes, Roy, you were right. Do you know what I mean? This is the seeds. We've officially shown you that you're not insane and these are real. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's not even. It wasn't necessarily like this is the, the fucking here we go, Ultron, next mission, go. It was pretty much saying, look, guys, you've all known already. Here's like, if you needed any more proof that this is where we were going with Roy, here you go. Right?
Yeah, true.
So I think that having that and then being like, oh, Ultron, Wakanda, is a bit like, Jesus. Like, it's been a bit much. So I think that going with Crossbones being like the side character with Claw is a really good idea. It also introduces quite a lot you could do with it. Like, for example, Crossbones, heavily connected to Hydra. A lot of people think that Bucky might be the next person. That kind of, works. Crossbones would fit very well in Wasteland Patrol, which was the villain I was, talking about. Even if he's like a little bit like Taskmaster, somewhat, like not he's not, but he might fight sort of like similar. I can't think of how you would do stages with Crossbones and making this big fucking massive battle. You know what I mean?
There's an
I can't
idea.
think.
I have an idea. Like, what if he's put
Sure.
bombs everywhere, and you gotta like go and disable the bombs, and then by disabling the bombs, then he finally reveals himself for like a final fight. You know. So essentially, you have like your phases of like, you're in the environment having to do environmental stuff, and then once you do all that, your side objectives, then your main objective actually appears, and you go fight him. You know.
Yeah, it could be stuff like that. Absolutely. I
You
mean,
took that
in
idea from
Wakanda, we
you? Did
don't.
I? Oh, Jazzy says I took that idea from him. Jazzy, if I did, credit to Jazzy Butters in the chat. Thank you, Jazzy. I don't remember if I did.
Um. Well, obviously, we know there's a shitload of bombs and stuff like that. Crossbones could have been the person to get the bombs to Claw.
Yep.
So there's an absolutely, that's definitely an idea there. But again,
Hmm.
Crossbones will be a stepping stone to the massive final sound form fight with Claw, because I
Yes.
imagine it will be Claw, Crossbones, big fat Claw, sound form.
There you
And
go.
that's cool. There you go. That's a good
I,
build up.
I I'm interested to see what they do with villain sectors for this, right? Because so for Kate's operation, we get Super Adaptoids and OLT. For Hawkeyes, we get Maestro as the villain sector. Now for Wakanda, do we get a villain sector and an OLT? You know what I mean? Claw as the
I
OLT, Crossbones as the
Yeah,
villain sector.
100%. That's what I think too. I
That's
think
an
that'll be way
that's a
too
good
good.
idea to do it, right? So like the next one would be an OLT, right? After Wakanda, then the next one after that would be a villain sector, and then your next expansion would be two of them, like one of each again, you know? That's an interesting idea to do.
That could be the way they do it. Yeah, 100%. Like I can't see. Yeah, yeah. There you
There we
go.
go. There we go.
There you go. I can't
Um
say anything. Yeah.
okay, so do you want to talk about the I guess the cosmetic stuff? I guess because there's
Yeah.
a
Sure.
yeah, I mean, like, it's nice to know that they're looking into the feedback on like Hawkeye's hair, for example, right? Like, I mean, I imagine because of like as much of a there was a bunch of people upset about it. It's hard to imagine they weren't looking into it. It's just nice to know that like if that is something that people really do care about, there's obviously an avenue forward where that can become a reality, right?
Well, here we go. Now I didn't know if I was going to mention this.
Oh
The chat are
boy,
gonna chat are gonna be quite excited.
oh boy.
I
Ch-
I
ch-
So okay. Hyrule,
yes.
I told you about this. Do I do it? So
I honestly forget, so I'm just gonna say yes because you have to refresh my memory.
okay, cool. So essentially, on the same day as this everything took place, right? Uh, there was I got randomly messaged by someone who was doing like an interview with the marketplace people.
Oh,
They
never
were
mind.
one
Yeah,
of
you're good. You can say
the
this. Yeah.
eh, one of the play tests and stuff. They were fucking hell. They were one of the people that play tested loadouts and stuff, right? So they were like not the ones in the studio, the ones at home that were doing the play testing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they had messaged me telling me that they had this conversation with people about the marketplace. It was like an interview, right?
Yes.
So they asked different things like about what would you like to see in the marketplace, what would you like to see from different games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about XP boosters and stuff, and then they had shown them an actual image of this MCU Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't seen it, right? I know that this person's telling the truth for reasons that I can't disclose here. It's always talking about these things because you can't fucking be like, look.
Yeah, you have to
and
like
then-
walk a line very carefully. Sure. Yeah.
So I'm trying to do this in like the most like, I do believe it, but I have to be so careful.
Sure.
But apparently it looked really good with the with the hair and everything. So I think they definitely might go down that route. But they said they didn't see like things like Black Widows or anything like that.
No,
So I don't think they've gone fully balls deep in the hair thing yet.
and
I
isn't that
think that was some.
weird?
It is quite weird,
Yeah.
but
It's weird because like if you're gonna do one, why not do both, right? If you do Hawkeye, Black Widow fans are gonna be very upset. So why are you only gonna do one? You know, to me it's an all or nothing. You can almost get away with Hulk, right? You can get away with Hulk and not do Hulk, but for Black Widow and Hawkeye, it's like if you're gonna do one of them, do the other one.
my belief in it, from the way the context was it was more like, here is the sort of idea that we want to do. Yeah, like they were getting general idea, like, yeah, cool, because then we can do the others if this is, yeah,
Oh,
which
if
is a
like
bit.
okay, I see
You
what you're
see,
saying.
reading the room sort of thing,
Yeah, gotcha.
like, does this look good with the right hair? Yeah, or are
Mm,
we going to do this for nothing? You know, are
yeah,
people going to be
true,
annoyed?
true.
Because obviously, let's be real. They were like, I asked him, I said, did they mention if it was going to be an update or a new buy? It's obviously going to be an update, right?
Right.
So what you're doing is, if you're not going to give people the option, you're changing a skin that most people have already bought.
Oh, that and you get into a weird territory where it's like there are going to be people who bought bald Hawkeye, right? Fans of me who bought bald Hawkeye,
Exactly.
and they're like, I like it bald. And if you change the hair on the,
Exactly.
yeah, now you start walking a weird territory.
So now, which is the reason why I believe they didn't go straight to doing all the others. They did Hawkeyes because easier,
Sure,
out of the
I
rest
agree.
of them. So
I agree.
you can obviously do that one and then read the room and be like, yes, because we don't want to do this, and then you all say you liked it the way it used to be, like. So
Yeah.
you go and like you put that in, and I mean, granted, I think people are going to be more happy than upset
Yep.
if you don't give the option. Assuming the option won't be there, it should be, hundred
True.
percent. But yeah,
True.
it's
Yeah,
yeah. So there we go.
yeah, that's interesting. I think like we'll have to wait and see how that develops because like I think it's interesting one way or another, right? Like now the idea has been floated out there. Now if they don't do it, then it's like they floated the idea was floated and now they're not going to do it. If they do it, it's like you're walking the line between like people who wanted it and people who don't want it. And unless you give the option, then there might be kind of people upset, again over this hair.
Realistically, though, there's gonna be people that are gonna be more happier about
Oh,
it
I
than
I
upset.
agree. I agree. I agree.
I think by doing it and updating it, you're pleasing the more vocal side of the community that will make people happier, if you know what I mean. It will sound better from the outskirts if the louder people are happy about the skins and stuff.
Sure.
But obviously, the simple idea would just be to give the options.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if that's for some reason not a thing they'd be able to do, then I think that personally they should go for it. You know,
Yeah,
fuck
I
it.
agree. I agree. I mean, it'll be interesting to see where this hair conversation goes because like speculation is now running rampant that the next MCU skin is the white suit Black Widow costume from the new movie. Now I believe she has the braids in that as well. And it's like if she has the braids there, then it's like, oh, they've learned. They've kind of seen the feedback. If she doesn't, then it's like, oh, have they not learned anything? So now you start walking into even murkier territory when it comes to a lot of this conversation because like if it is white suit Black Widow, now we got to see how they do with that one.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if the white suit, see, this is a good idea because they can test it with the white suit. If
Mm-hmm.
people
Yep.
think that Natasha's face in this game, it looks okay with the hair of the MCU, and people are okay with it, and it's worldly quite well received,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's into it, then you say, right, well, there you go, let's go do it with the other one, like,
Yep.
fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
And there you go. So that's how they get feedback with that hairstyle for that one. And Hulk, like you mentioned, isn't a massive deal. They
I
could
I yeah,
change it or not. I don't
I
think people would be that bothered.
I don't think people are bothered too much by that one. I think like if you do it, it's like, you know, a more clean cut, and then you do like the gray on the sides, right? So I haven't seen too much outrage about Hulks than I have about obviously Black Widow and Hawkeye, right? Um so I mean, it'll be interesting to see if the next MCU suit is white suit Black Widow. Then we'll get an idea of where they are going with this hair conversation. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Um.
Hopefully
Okay.
they're able to do it without as much
I want to
finesse.
sidetrack. I want to sidetrack a little bit here, because Miller did say more weapon skins incoming with the Wakanda expansion. Now on Friday they said Thor. They're waiting on a few things for Thor, right, before they can put a Thor skin out. Am I starting to get some believers with me? I've been saying for weeks now. I've been saying for months it's Stormbreaker coming. And now do I have some believers alongside me, or are people still skeptical? Because I think I'm right. I genuinely think I'm right. What do you think?
I don't know, mate. I think the closest we're getting is the MCU hammer. Don't think we're getting Stormbreaker.
But why would it take so long to do the MCU hammer?
Well, there's a lot going on with the skin. The man's fat.
Oh, you're still talking about fat Thor.
Yeah,
You think
yeah,
it's fat Thor,
with the beard.
but with Mjolnir, the MCU Mjolnir. Is there
Yeah.
is there that much of a difference between the game's Mjolnir and MCU to justify like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's
Look,
Stormbreaker, dude.
we need to. I think we need to stop because every single time I say nah, you look so disappointed that
You
I'm
just
not
break
on the
my heart, man.
Stormbreaker train.
I just want you to join the train with me, man. I've been saying this for months now. You know, I've been saying it for
All
months.
right, how about this? How about
Okay,
this?
okay.
If it is Stormbreaker,
Uh-huh.
I will. What should I do? I don't know. I think like we should do a bet with this. I think.
I bet. We'll come back to it. I like the idea
All
though.
right.
It has like for me, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Like I understand like Fat Thor may take a while, right? Like no like obviously like it may take a while, but like it just seems like there's so much more going on with Thor that like there would have to be more extensive work put into him, right? And that's why it's probably gonna be another 3 weeks before we see this MCU Thor, right?
Well, not necessarily. Like man could be like not next week, but the week after. Like I don't think 3 weeks.
You think it's 2 weeks?
Could be. Could be. You don't know.
Interesting.
You don't know shit.
If it is Stormbreaker, Stardust has to buy Hyrule the Stormbreaker skin, and if it's not Stormbreaker, I'll buy you the skin.
Do you think I have money for that fucking thing? You know how much this shit is.
I mean,
I
that's
want to buy it. I want to buy it as well.
True. So you may have to double buy it. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. I don't know. Okay, so let's move away from the Thor conversation then. More weapon skins incoming. What do you think? Like, so we've seen as little weapon skins on like the quivers and the fletchlings. I think I'm saying that right? When it comes to the arrow characters, now we've seen the shield change, right, with the steampunk skin as well as the MCU skin. What do you think more weapon skins could mean for a lot of these other characters? Because Hulk doesn't have weapons. Black Widow, you could do stuff with the weapons, right? Her weapons change when you use the MCU skin, I believe, right? I didn't look too closely, but I believe the weapons changed there. So like how far You don't think so? Oh, I might be misremembering. Okay, that's fine. So like how far do you take these weapon skins idea? Because like there's only a few characters that really can utilize this kind of like changing of appearance, right?
Yeah, like there's only so many ways you can do different sort of weapons and stuff like that with these characters. Like you could like with Iron Man and stuff, obviously can't change the look of his weapons. All you could do is change the way his repulsor, looks, right?
Right.
Which you can do that with gear anyway. Widows is another awkward thing because how do you make her stuff look completely different?
Well, actually,
You can't give her a sniper for a high caliber, can you? Because that would be
well,
like an
Mo
entirely
just said
new.
you could mess around with the staff, but the staff is covered in the energy anyway. So like, how much do you really see that?
Yeah, that's true. Like it would be similar to having like Jarvis Barry on all the time.
Right. So
So
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, you start walking into this territory. Like, don't get me wrong, as a Captain America main, like, give me all the shields possible, right? Give me the World War II shield, give me the Secret Empire shield. Like, I want every single one. Like that anime shield, like I want that one as well. Like, give me all of these shields. Like, I'll take them, right? But like for a lot of the other characters, right? Unless you start messing with Hulkbuster, for example, right? Like people in chat are saying, you really start running into like this wall here of like how far do you take weapon skins, right?
and it seems a little unfair as well to not be able to do much with the other characters besides Cap and Thor.
Mm,
So like how yeah, exactly. Like how far does it really go?
right.
Because with Black Panther,
Yeah,
what
you
was
can't do
his
weapon
weapon
skins with him
skins?
either, right? Like, what are you gonna do?
Can't do him
Change
with
his
Spider
claws?
Man. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Can't do him with Spider Man. You can't do him with. We could do him with Bucky, I suppose, with his
Yep.
weapons. But then it's the same problem as Widow, right? So it's like, how do you? Assuming that's his thing, because well, that's just an assumption. But
Right.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one.
I
So
think I think honestly, it's
it is
like,
pretty like unnecessary to change those little things. Like if you're gonna do
well,
weapon skins, it's got to be big in your face, like Cap Shield.
I wouldn't say it's well, yeah, I was gonna say like if it's like simple matter of like changing the guns around like for Widow, I don't know if that's necessary, but if it's like new shields or new hammers, then like of course, like obviously do it to the degree that you can and make it like authentic and it looks cool and you're not breaking the game for it. But like it just seems like when I see more weapon skins incoming, it's like how many for who and what do they do, right? Like what's the wall we're gonna hit with weapon skins? And that's where I wonder
Yeah,
where we're
exactly.
going with that. Yeah. Okay. So Horde mode. Let's talk about Horde mode. I'm only gonna do like the big stuff that we can really talk about. So
Yeah, yeah.
Horde mode is obviously the big one, right? New game mode coming. This is kind of exciting to me, honestly. Like I look at Horde mode and I think about like all the fun that you can have in Horde mode, right? Like I don't even know like how to like voice my thoughts on it because like without seeing actual gameplay, it's hard for me to like think about it in a way that like I'm gonna be able to like echo my thoughts in a way that makes sense. But I'm excited. Like the idea of like a new game mode coming with new rewards, hopefully is like it's good, right?
When you hear a horde mode, what is it
Sure.
to you? Like
Um,
what is it
to be
hold
honest,
in your
I
mind?
assume I like when I think of horde mode, I think of like you're defending like a point of interest over like waves of enemies. Between the waves of enemies, you can get like upgrades, you can get like consumables that you can use, like health or regen or whatever. Like, and then you just basically rinse and repeat. Maybe every 10 levels that you go, you get like a boss, and the boss can drop like a reward or something, and then you like rinse and repeat until you die.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Because I was thinking, I like for me, horde mode kind of sounded a little bit like the harm room times 10. Waves of enemies and stuff. But instead of like there being an end, there just is no end, and you just go until you fucking
Uh,
drop and die.
I guess like at that point like the foundation is there, but there's just no rewards attached to it.
I mean, you can still do rewards. Like, depending how long you go, depends on the sort of reward you get. So, if you get
Sure,
like, if you go through like 20 waves, for example, you get like, I don't know, like 10 legendaries or some crazy shit like that. If you
sure.
manage to somehow get to like 60 waves, you get like 4, 5 exotics or something crazy like
Well,
that.
I wonder too if this is them,
No, more than that, actually. Sorry.
right, right, right. I wonder if this is them saying like we're not going to change up the harm room too much, and instead we're going to give you guys a horde mode. Because
Well, I mean,
like there
with the
used to be
horde
like a lot
mode,
of talk about like manipulating the harm room, changing all this, doing all this, and like to a degree we got there with custom harm rooms. But I wonder if instead they've kind of abandoned the idea of like kind of tying different things with the harm room and just saying we're gonna give you guys a horde mode, and then we'll just do it that way. Because to me,
well,
I think the harm room is like a very bland visual experience. So if they're able to tie it in with like a locale that looks different, Wakanda obviously, I think there's like a higher ceiling for that instead of just like tying it to the harm room, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think what they'll do is they'll squish the horde mode in like a smaller area of Wakanda, for example,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
say in a mission you have to go sort of like that's actually a really good point. I never thought about that. Someone put in chat, and I like this idea of Marvel Zombies Horde Mode event
that'd
during
be cool.
Halloween. Like
That'd
the
be cool.
Horde Mode coming with, because I don't think Miller specified that it was coming with War for Wakanda, right? I mean, it probably will, but I would
I
like
mean,
to, I'd
I would
like to
assume
feel like
that since this says the War for Wakanda thread, that I would assume that everything he said here is coming with Wakanda.
yeah. But I like that idea of sort of like a Halloween horde mode thing for
That'd
the
be cool.
Marvel Zombies. Like
That'd be
a
cool.
lot of people have mentioned it. I believe that if it isn't that, people are just going to be so disappointed that it's not
Mm.
connected to Marvel Zombies. I can
Well,
just see it.
I think there's room to do that, right? Like, I think now that you establish a horde mode, I think if you were to do something like that for Halloween, now you can, right?
That'd be so fun. But
I agree. It would be fun.
But yeah, no, the problem with Horde mode is making it feel different to just like normal harm missions, making it feel a bit crazy, and
Hmm.
also like the rewards that will come from it. Because obviously, if it's endless and I get to somehow like wave 100 and all I get is one exotic when I could have just gotten one exotic from 40,
Yeah,
then well, that's pretty shit. But
true.
so we've got hopefully they're able to work that out before it's even coming out.
I think it's just exciting to see them kind of experiment with like a different game mode. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it
Yeah,
like
for
is
sure.
like very linear kind of mission scaling. Like you go from start to finish, you beat a boss at the end. This is different, right? Like it's different. There'll be rewards tied to it. It's obviously part of like the bigger Wakanda expansion, which should have a lot of cool stuff, which we're going to talk about in like 30 seconds. So for me, it's nice to see that they're willing to kind of experiment with different game modes to provide a new gameplay experience as part of these expansions, right? Like, you know, operations are like their small little thing, and then now we're kind of seeing with some of the leaks that like Wakanda is going to be a little bit different than what we've been getting so far with the game, which to me shows that like they're willing to try different things based on the feedback, right? I've seen a lot of people talk about horde mode over the last like 5 months, right? Allfather being one of them, right? He's posted a lot on Twitter about horde mode this and horde mode that, and it's nice to see that like they've taken some of this feedback in. I don't know if this was part of the original plan, so I can't speculate that way, but it's nice to see that when the community says like, hey, this might be a cool game mode, see if you can do that, they go, hey, that might actually be a cool game mode, let's see if we can get that going, right? So for me, that's kind of nice to see, regardless of if it turns out to be shit, we'll come back here and we'll say this actually turned out to be shit. But just based off the idea of horde mode itself, it's nice to see that they're taking in that feedback and trying to give us those new experiences, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely needs to be something that people can people can play sort of on the console. Because again, every time I think of these, I think of a couple of things. I think one, would it be a good farming place to level
Mm-hmm.
up your CXP,
Yep.
just your hero in general who's not at the 50 yet? Is it a good place to farm gear? Is it fun? Those three things are
Yep.
big things when it comes to any sort of new content from now on, in my opinion. And if Horde
Yep.
Mode does all three of those things, even if it outlives itself after a while, outstays its welcome a little bit, I think it's something that should be added. More game modes, the better, really, because then. You can't, when people are like, "Yo, there's no content in the game," we can say, "Well, there's horde mode, there's this, there's that, there's the
Mm-hmm.
other." They need things like this.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Okay, so now let's talk about the raid. The OLT raid not coming day and date with War for Wakanda. I should have asked Miller for clarification on this, because to me, I okay. So we gotta like preface this conversation a little bit here. Um,
Well, I know what they said in the dev stream that might help us out with this conversation.
yes,
Cloning Labs is after Wolf of Wakanda, and
yes,
then it's this. So
really,
yeah, so it goes. I don't know when exactly, but
sure.
so it goes July for this one, Cloning Labs for after Wolf of Wakanda, and then after Cloning Labs is this one, the big one.
I have so many questions now. I have so many. Okay, so they didn't specify on Friday too when the level increase is coming with which OLT, right? Is it Cloney Labs or Wakanda? I would imagine
But my assumption would
it would be
be that
Wakanda.
they originally, yeah, because my assumption would be that they originally had the idea of doing it to with War for Wakanda the raid, so that would make sense with
Yeah.
the power cap. So
Yeah.
I think you move power cap to that one because if it's going to be so big and difficult, like they say,
So
I
many
guess it makes
questions.
sense to build up for it. So
It's
yeah.
interesting because like I said, then it's horizontal progression then, right? It's not vertical progression. That's interesting. There's a lot there to like kind of think about and like take in because like usually expansions come with a level cap increase. The only reason I can see not a level cap increase coming is because one, the raid probably isn't ready to go, right? And because of that, it's like you're gonna level up for what essentially. And two, I imagine that they also probably didn't have their systems in place to probably take our gear further with us, right? Because I believe in the Paul Tassi article,
Yeah, he
it
mentioned they said that
mentions.
there was going to be
Mhm.
a way to bring your builds with you, which is great.
Right. So I imagine that there's probably two factors in play there that they decided to move both of those things forward. So that's really interesting to think about. Cloney Lab specifically being, yeah, I mean, I think Cloney Labs is going to be like the year one anniversary thing. You know what I mean? I have this
I said
I
this. You
Yeah.
you told me
Did
that
you
this would have been a shit idea. It was me who said it. You
It's
do
still
a
a
one
shit
year
idea.
anniversary.
It's still a
You
shit
do a 1 year
idea.
anniversary event with clothing labs to show
It's
how far we've come.
it's still a shit idea because like like this technically was the first one, right? Now like
Yeah.
it's changed so much that like now we're hoping for the first piece of endgame content advertised to us pre-launch is going to come 1 year anniversary, right? Like regardless of how you say it, it's still garbage, right? But now I'm thinking like
Yeah.
that's going to be the case, and then you do that and then maybe like
Realistically, you just
mhm
need it out the fucking way, don't you? Like, but
mhm
but because they're like, because they've worked on it for so long, I really don't blame. I really don't. I just crumbled. I really don't blame them for fucking making the most out of it. Do you know what I mean?
sure,
Like,
sure.
they have waited so long. We have waited so long that I understand them wanting to make a meal out of it. I
Yeah.
really do.
Of course. Of course. I mean
Like, if
it's
I
just
was
it's
them, I'd be
funny.
terrified to release it after so fucking long. I'd get anxiety about pressing it to go live. Like when I'm going to Sony and Microsoft and
Google
whoever does the
Stadia.
PC. Google Stadia, yeah, bro. And I'm getting ready to like say, look, patch is done. You can go through all that shit. It's scary. I would
Yeah,
lose my shit.
for
So I
sure.
do feel for him because if Cloning Labs came out and it's just dog shit,
Oh
it'd
yeah,
be
it's gonna
like,
be
oh,
memed all
bro.
over. Yeah, it's a meme. I mean, I think you're right then. That I think it's probably in consideration for like a 1 year anniversary drop, and then you're probably looking at like maybe end of September, October, more than likely for the Wakanda raid and the power cap increase. I think that to me sounds pretty on point there, more than likely.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
And then
I
and
think
then
so.
then you do December patrol mode. There you go. You got your 3 months of content drops.
Spider-Man fitting in there somewhere. Fucking
December, that's 4 months.
no, fuck off. No,
Um,
not December. Fuck you.
it's December, man. I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's not.
You'll.
A State of Play will come out in July, and it will tell
I
me what
don't
I need
disagree.
to
Yeah,
know.
you're gonna get a state of play next, not this week coming up, but next week. Yeah, and then if he's not there, then it's December. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay. So I think
I hate this
that's
shit.
pretty much a lot of the big stuff that I wanted to cover off of the Miller thread. Is there anything there that you wanted to talk about specifically? The new factions, new enemy types. I mean, like without knowing a lot of like the details on that stuff, it's hard to really say other than like it's good that we're getting additional, enemy types, new factions. What I would like to see is the faction rewards go up higher, which I think based on Friday, Phil saying like he hears about that, like I imagine that's probably something that's coming as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they'll definitely be looking into how to make those rewards a little bit juicier. I reckon, especially with
True.
Wakanda.
True. I think there's ways that you can definitely spice it up a little bit.
And not just that as well, but obviously
Yes.
with PIM, with Inhumans, you've got PIM payload. With Shield, you've got Shield payload, I think. So, like, there could be vibranium-based gear as well. So, like,
Hmm.
just a new complete sort of team of gear makers.
True. Okay, do you want to do some questions quickly? We'll do one question from each person because I know a lot of you guys posted a bunch of questions in here.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll pick the first one.
yeah, go
This
for it.
one
Go for it.
is from Jazzy. If I eat 20 cookies in a row, will I die? If you don't choke on them, you should be all right. All right, next.
All right. So Gavarino, an actual mole asks, which of these skins would you like to see the most? MCU Stormbreaker on Infinity War Thor, Ultimate Thor with the Ultimate Mjolnir, and Dark World Thor with MCU Mjolnir. What do you think? It's a pretty easy answer, I think.
Is it?
It's MCU Stormbreaker on Infinity War Thor, of course, dude. It's an easy answer.
Uh, I was gonna go for ultimate.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
Easy answer.
Do you want to pick the next one?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Let's have a look. So,
If you guys ask questions in the chat, we could definitely answer those as well.
oh, here we go. All right. So I'm trying to go for different people.
Sure.
So I'll read off a few from Mr. Ton, right? Or
Okay.
one, anyway. I'll try and look for... So I'll read the top one. Do you
Sure.
think pushing out the players any heroes was in preparation for Black Panther, knowing a lot of people will try and main him?
100%. Without a
100%,
doubt.
yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Like, and I think as well is it's fun. It's just
Yep.
a fun option. Like, for people that dislike it and want to sort of just be immersed with Avengers team up, just don't play as the same person your mate is. There you go. You fixed it.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting things where like the immersion is being broken in again. You know what I mean? Like for people who really like the immersive aspect of and let's just call a spade, right? Like this game has shit on immersion since day one, right? Like so like is this really the straw that broke the camel's back? Like is it really? Because like for me, I look at this and I'm just like it's part of the course for the immersion breaking, right? Like fucking Iron Man's going around aim bases searching for new gear or whatever. Like how far is the sacred immersion aspect to your game? And I feel like we've already passed that point.
The game about fucking superheroes. Like, what immersion
Well,
do you want? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, just for me, I've always just wanted this game to just throw its fucking nuts at the wall, just
Sure.
have fun. Like, do
Yeah.
some fun shit. And it's a fun choice. It's fun. People want to just play as whoever they want. I don't want to not play as Cap because you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck that. That's
Yeah.
boring. I want to play as Cap because you are as well. And if everyone wants to play as Cap, then let's do it. If War for Wakanda is a bunch of Black Panthers running about going Avengers with me, like fuck it.
Yeah,
You
why
know?
not? Yeah, exactly.
Have
I think
fun.
I think it's like I understand why people are upset, but I think at this point it's like the only thing that I think there is an argument for is like the OLT conversation, right? Which Tony Bing's been kind of leading here. And I think if there's scaling issues or issues regarding how you kind of make your content with that in mind, then maybe there's a conversation to where you lock that for endgame content. But I think if that's not an issue, then you just let it be and you just let it go, right? We hear so much about like matchmaking is an issue, player numbers, matchmaking, this and that, right? I think opening that up to allow people to just to matchmake with anyone that they're able to within their levels for the piece of content they're trying to do alleviates a lot of those issues, right? Just allow people to play the game with whoever they want to play with whoever they want to play as, and you alleviate a lot of those things right there.
Oh yeah, like you're in one of them sort of positions where you can either pick the very small minority that are focusing on immersion when realistically immersion isn't the thing this game needs to focus on. Do you know what I mean? Out of all the lists of things, immersion is the last we need to concern ourselves with. This game isn't in a place to be very stingy with wanting to go anywhere other
Sure.
than their own. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So going with that whole like, okay, people want to play as multiple of the same hero, let's do it. You know,
Yep.
why not? And that's exactly what I think. And you know, when for PlayStation people, you can do the Spider-Man meme now when he comes out. You sorted,
Oh,
dudes.
you know that's gonna be a thing, right? Like, you know, everyone's gonna do that.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
good. Go and do it. Have fun. You
Yep.
know, and when Black Panther's out, you guys, you know, be your own Black Panther version of Dora Milaje. Go for it.
Yep.
You know, like, and there you go. Just,
Just
I,
yeah, I
I
think
think
just
it's a good
enabling
thing.
people to have fun is like what this game should be, right? Like allow people to
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
what they need to do to have the fun that they want to have fun with. And that doesn't mean that like, you know, and we're going to put this on the onus of the player here, but like if you don't want to play with two other Captain Americas or three other Captain Americas, then organize a group to do it, you know? Like I mean, I don't know. Did they say anything about how this may impact narrative? Because I
It
see
doesn't
Jake.
impact. It doesn't impact narrative at all.
Okay, because I saw Jake brought up narrative, and I didn't read his full thing, but like, as long as it doesn't impact the narrative, right? Like, yeah, you know, they're gonna try and explain it away, then like, go for it.
They said it's not really a narrative,
Hmm.
but maybe in an event like Tachyon Anomaly, like that's as
Mm,
far as it will go. So it's nothing like it's not sort of something they might wove into like the big picture, but it's an event thing at
sure.
most.
Okay.
So cool.
Sounds good. I'll pick the next one.
Can do.
Sounds good. Realistically, do you think the current Avengers roster, including Black Panther, can take down the Kree on their own? I mean, like, why not? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
here's the
well,
thing.
I mean,
Here's the thing.
fuck
Here's
it,
the
Hawkeye can do mad shit, so why not? No,
Well,
right, go on.
here's the thing about comic book stuff, right? Like within there's obviously like an upper level and a bottom level for a lot of comic book characters, right? And writers a lot of the time, you know, stress as high as they can go and, you know, put them as low as they can go as well. Now, there's nothing saying that like this team right here wouldn't be able to do the Kree, right? Maybe there's some crazy shit that they are able to pull off or whatever, but like most of the time I don't look at like the logical consistent way some of these characters are able to go with their power scaling, right? For anyone who like, and I keep stressing this, for anyone who read King and Black, you saw Venom got a huge power up there, ridiculous power up there, right? And it's like, and like
Yeah.
if and you're doing that, and we're worried about like these Avengers taking down the Kree. I mean, comic books a lot of the time throw out power scaling just for the sake of the story. So for me, I look at a lot of this stuff and I'm like, yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they want, right? Like you give Black Widow like a power up, and it's like, yeah, right. Or you look at Moon Knight. Moon Knight was able to take all these primordial powers away. You know, thanks Jason Aaron. And like you look at that, and it's like, wow, that kind of was a shit story. But like a lot of the time, these things, you know, they just are the way they are. You know, I don't think too much about power scaling when it comes to superheroes, because a lot of the time things change around, they don't make sense, they go back on it, you know. So when it comes to like these current Avengers and the Kree, go for it.
I don't. I think is. I think that you also need to ask in the lore side of it. So when the Kree Sentry was there at the end of the campaign, it was Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man that were going for it, and those three couldn't take down the Kree Sentry. Hulk did a lot of damage because he went straight for the fucking eye, but like, you know, even he got blasted in the end. So you got to think of that, and then the entire force of the Kree. So one sentry is causing him a lot of problems. Bearing in mind they didn't know a lot about him, but Thor was aware that the Kree existed.
Sure.
How is all of the Kree versus this team of Avengers going to really handle? When, no disrespect, there's a lot of people who don't have powers on the team, who can't get up to the heights of an eyeball. There's two flyers, Thor and Iron Man, and they weren't able to take down one until Kamala decided to embiggen, and Paul Kamala can't do all the work. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
you've got to think of, like, in the grand scheme of law at the minute, the idea is that they probably can't, which is why we're supposed to be like on this quest to go and sort of like prepare for it.
I mean, by the time you get to that point, you'll have Captain Marvel, you'll have Bucky and She-Hulk and Black Panther, and then for us lucky PlayStation players, we'll have Spider-Man. But there's reasons to believe that like through all this stuff, they're gonna learn more about it, and by learning more about it, they'll learn more about how to take them down, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it will get to a point where they, you know, like for example, when you're doing the Ewan funeral, I think mission it is, and you're with Roy and you're trying to look at ways to defeat him. Roy examines one of them and says that this has been beaten by conventional measures, like a shield
Right.
thing. So
Right.
it shows that like human tech can defeat some Kree members. So there's potentially an idea there where, because we know a lot of the damage causing the wasteland was done by the cube, Project
Right.
Omega.
Yeah.
So there's a good possibility there with that not happening anymore, and then building up a bigger team, and also learning a bit more about them anyway because they already have a head start now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course they would, but we're talking lore wise, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Brett Slice asks, despite not having any actual gameplay in our hands yet, what do you think they can do to differentiate OLTs from the raid? And I think honestly, when it comes to like OLTs and the raid, it's usually the scale of it, right? Like a dungeon versus a raid itself is usually the scale and the amount of bosses you have, and maybe like the bosses have like more mechanics to it. And I think that's usually like the best way to describe them. The difference between them.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like,
I
sorry,
think
I went brain dead.
no, you're good. You're good. I know you're fighting it today.
So the thing is with this raid, because we know that the first OLT boss fight, that's the thing that they're sort of saying is the challenge. Next one's going to be the puzzles. They're saying is the challenge. So cloning labs. This one, I imagine you combine those two things. You have this big epic extravaganza for it. I imagine Soundform Claw's probably going to be the OLT fight.
Hmm.
And then you've got, I imagine you'd also maybe you'd shove all of them in there.
Hmm.
So you do
Interesting.
that, and then that kind of makes it feel like a bigger raid. And obviously you've got to have the real good gear for it. You've really got to
Sure.
like put all this like heavy effort into this, because obviously if this is essentially a raid, you've got
Hmm.
to make people think like, this is good shit. It's good.
Right. Right. All right. So I think what we will do now is I think we'll just do some questions from chat, and then I think we'll just wrap it up here because I know you want to do some stuff tonight, and obviously you're still not 100%. So we'll definitely wrap up just either before 2 hours or at 2 hours. How does that sound to you?
That sounds good, man. Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. Is there
Okay.
anyone from chat that guys, if you got questions, man, you guys want stuff? I know you guys have posted some of them. Feel free to copy and paste it. And we'll let Stardust get first crack at which one he wants to do. A lot
Well,
of the stuff.
there's one specified at me already, so I'll let
Go
you do
for
what
it.
you.
Go
So
for it.
Jazzy says, at Slight Stardust, would you like to see a hero year, a whole year of hero DLC, one per month? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Holy shit! Like guys, like I understand that would sound amazing and that would be really good, but you've got to think how difficult that would be. Like I don't even think any team in their office could do a hero a month. You know what I mean? Like in a dream world, yeah, sure, why not do a hero year? Why I personally I would do a hero year when there's a lot more content in the game. You need a shitload more content and then get out the heroes.
Yeah.
Um, but realistically, like as Jake said, a hero year would probably consist of 4 to 6 characters.
Yep.
Because half of what an actual year is, you do like one maybe every 2 months instead.
True. I think that's probably fair. Okay, Juan asked a good question here. What are your thoughts on the next roadmap showing things for next year? That's a really good question, man. It's nice to see that they already have their plan in place for 2022, and probably not all of 2022. I imagine what you'll see is a September to September roadmap, and you'll still have the back half of 2022 kind of open. And I think that's a good way to do it, right? Kind of give us 12 months of content, an idea of where they're going, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see where that all goes. I think it's a really good idea to kind of get the speculation out of the room, because if they only give us the next 6 months, I think you're opening yourself up to that continued speculation of like, is 2022 the end? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we've had a lot of stuff from like say Paul Tassi mentioned that they've got idea. Well, actually, Phil mentioned it on the dev stream that
Yeah.
they've got plans for 2023.
Yep.
So if you think you're going to be stopping playing this game anytime soon, I'm sorry, friends. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, obviously business changes things, but we're going to forget about all that boring shit. It's very exciting to me that there's going to be an Avengers like this, and they're going to keep working on it to at least, very least, 2023. That's really good. Like,
Yep.
that makes me happy. We're gonna be able to do this until I'm like 23, mate.
Dude, we're
Crazy.
gonna hit a couple hundred episodes, man. It would be nice. It'd be nice.
It will.
It would
Like,
be the
it's
longest. It would be the longest relationship I've ever been in. Dude, that was. I feel like I shouldn't have said that. That was really bad. I
There's a fucking Harold, mate.
why did I say that? It just seemed like such a good thing to say, you know? It's like, oh, like that's funny. And then I say it, and I'm like, oh, that's cringe. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that.
All good, bro. You're just never gonna let you forget that one now. Anyway,
Nope.
yeah.
Here's
For
a here's
once,
a
it was Harold that made it weird.
here's a good question, man, because I know a lot of people might be in this scenario right here. Then I'm just gonna step out really quick. Callum asks, how should I be grinding the end game right now? I'm gonna let you handle that, and I'll be right back quickly. All right.
Cool. Let
All right.
me. Is that literally all the question was? Let me try and find it.
That's literally all the question was. Just how should I be
How to
grinding end game right now? When, and like I said, with OLTs coming up, this might be a good opportunity here to kind of talk about what you've done leading up to OLTs to get yourself, kind of set up, because there's a lot of people who may not know this, but Stardust has been doing build videos in order to kind of, educate and get some information out there of how to kind of build your characters and get them ready for OLTs. All right, I'll be right back.
So, realistically, my friends, what you want to do with OLTs definitely being a lot more difficult. You need to get that resolve game going strong. Best thing that I do when I'm talking to people about builds and stuff like that, I want to get to learn and everything, is that I don't like, obviously, I have build videos, but I don't want to just give you my build video and go, do that, go, because you might not like the playstyle for it. For example, I do Rage Captain America, you might not be into it. So, if you want to do a Marvel build, Marvel, that'd be pretty cool. If you want to do a Might build, a melee build, you go into the Might section, and you go into the melee rating, and you see like Might, proficiency, valor, so you want to get gear based on that, but you also want to get a lot of resolve in there too. So my places to go to would normally be a vault mission, tachyon rifts and stuff like that, mega hives you want to make sure that you're doing, and obviously whenever these events show up you want to try and get them as well. Would you like to see a Moniker skin for Widow? I think that was actually on the cards, funny enough. I
Yeah,
actually think that was an idea they mentioned. Same with Taskmaster and Cap,
for
I
Cap.
believe.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's another
That'd be
skin.
cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Movie fan asks, when is the next PlayStation State of Play, and what villain would you like to see with Spider-Man? I think it's been rumored that July 8th might be the day for the State of Play, which means we either get the announcement this week, but more likely next week, because they usually announce it like the Monday or Tuesday and say like, hey, come join us on Thursday. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks. For villains, I've always said Sandman would be kind of cool. I think I said that last week. Sandman, I've heard people say Mysterio would be kind of cool.
Oh, mate.
What?
Whoa, what a fucking fun villain that would be. That's an
That would
OLT
be.
villain. You could
That
do
would.
some mad shit with Mysterio. He
Yep.
won't be, but you could do some fun fucking things with Mysterio.
Yep. I agree. Black Wakanda asks, do you think that if OLTs are successful, do you see a bright future for Avengers? It's just one part, man. In the similar vein that like the campaign was really good, but the campaign doesn't carry the game, right? OLTs to a degree won't carry the game. You need a variety of game modes that are really fun. You need a variety of loot that's really fun to get. You need characters that are really fun to play. You need a story that makes sense, that is going somewhere. You need a whole host of things that kind of interlock together. And the more that interlock together, the stronger the whole structure becomes. Right? Is OLTs a big part of that? Of course they are. But OLTs alone won't be able to carry a game that doesn't have fun loot to get, that doesn't have fun characters to play, that doesn't feel like it's going anywhere with the story, right? It's one big part, and if OLTs are really successful, then we'll get more end game content, of course. It's not what's kind of carrying the hopes and dreams of the game right now,
Yeah, I think so. I think that OLTs, again, like we mentioned earlier, would satisfy the like satisfy the current player base enough and keep us, you know, excited, keep us going, but it won't bring people back necessarily. You need like more game modes, you need more options, you need more variety in there to really please a lot of people, because Avengers is such a, you know, a big IP that branches out to everyone, but a
Yeah.
looter genre is very niche, believe it
Yeah.
or not, very like small. So what you're doing is you've got to introduce people through the means of different variety. You can't just have OLTs and a very basic, in hindsight, looter game. You've got to have more to it, and it's difficult. I
Hmm.
envy them. I don't envy them. Sorry for it, but you know, it's one that they, you know, they're going for. So
Hmm.
that's what I think they need to do. They need to do a lot of variety. Question for me:
Yes.
would you like to voice an NPC in the Avengers game? Black Wakanda. I'd love that. I would love to be one of the NPCs in the Chimera or Anthill that says hi to the fucking heroes. But instead, I do snark remarks like, "Oh, look, it's Captain America," and as they're walking past, I think that'd be pretty fucking funny.
Lovely. Lovely.
Imagine that.
Lovely.
Imagine you're going to
I would
Royal something,
literally,
get
I would
gear from
literally
the
mute the
vendor,
game.
and all you hear in the background is, "Oh, it's fucking Roy." Huh?
I'd mute it. I would mute it. Would you rather have comic accurate skins or comic inspired skins? Accurate, if you know, can be. You know, so here's the thing. I've always said that like I judge a skin by how cool it is to me, right? That means I've seen some skins that are pretty cool and some skins that are not cool, right? So it's cool, then accuracy, and then, you know, then you can figure out the rest of the criteria from there, right? So for example, here's a good example, right? Months and months and months and months and months ago when Prometheum came out,
And
I came
whoa!
out when Prometheum came out, I made a video for that weekly blog and I said, hey, Prometheum's kind of cool. I kind of like it. I was memed on pretty hard about that, right? You know, it just got to the point where it's like, you know, something cannot be accurate but still be cool looking, right? Would I like accurate skins to the degree that like, you know, they're 1-to-1 all the way down? Of course. But I'm not going to say like a skin's not cool looking just because it's not accurate either, right? If that's totally a different opinion than yours, that's totally fine. But for me, you know, my Iron Man still today wears the Prometheum skin, you know, and it is what it is, right? And that's kind of just where I stand, you know. Accurate the better, sure, but even if it's not accurate and it still looks cool, I'm still gonna say it looks cool. And that's where I'm at.
I think sometimes, you know, people want one to one, but for comic skins, it's so difficult because there's so many different details that can be done. So with like Ultimate, right? The amount
Mm-hmm.
of people that didn't know that is one of the Ultimate Iron Man suits is mental. Their idea of Ultimate was the triangular shaped helmet. You know that fucking thing,
Right.
the one like in the Ultimates.
Yep.
But that's the one that we got was still comic accurate. It just wasn't the one that people wanted, and it's like, sure, I get it, but you know what I mean. Like, so
Mm.
you've got a, but when that one got released and that was comic accurate, it looked goofy as fuck. So people wanted the more serious one. So you've also got to look at how to translate those things into the game as well.
Yep.
Prometheum with its massive fuck off back things and that, it looks pretty dumb. Like on a, like in the comics, if it was the same height as our Iron Man with
Yeah.
massive panels on the back that look like antennas,
Mm-hmm.
nah, that would look ridiculous. So in my opinion, they did it well. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if it's cool looking, I'll say it's cool looking, even if it's not accurate, you know? And that's just kind of where I stand.
yeah.
The champion says, do you think we will get Black Panther's MCU skin off the bat with War for Wakanda, or we have to wait weeks/months after? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna be their day of. Day of.
Yep, I
Yep.
would say so. I say that. I
Yep.
think it's going to be in the marketplace the day of. If not,
Yep.
the week after.
The week
Like, it'll be
after.
really
Yeah.
close. It'll be really close to
Listen, they're literally gonna milk Black Panther. Like they're gonna milk our wallets for Black Panther. They're gonna have like cool skins. They're gonna have the MCU skins. Like if you're a Black Panther fan, you better start counting your nickels and dimes now because you guys are gonna get milked, and that's just
Which,
where it
I mean,
is.
in all fairness, if they smash it, fucking milk 'em, lads.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if
Yep.
you earn it, do it. Do the business shit. Once you get the gameplay out of the way and people are having fun playing it, that's when you can start pinching dollars. You know what I mean? And it's fair
Yep.
enough. Like, it's
Yep.
absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. I forget who asked this, but someone asked. Marvel has released a game every year so far. Someone asked what I think next year's game's going to be. It's going to be XCOM and Marvel. That's what I think it is. Yeah, XCOM and Marvel.
I think so too.
Yeah. Let
And
me
a
see.
year after will probably be Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, could be. Sounds about right to me. Due to the release of the Guardians of the Galaxy game by Crystal, so the Guardians of the Galaxy game is by Eidos Montreal. It's not by the same guys, under the same umbrella, but not the same guys. Could we see other spin-offs like Thunderbolts or Defenders? Thunderbolts would be kind of cool. Defenders.
It would be pretty cool, yeah.
Defenders would be okay. I think Thunderbolts would be kind of cool, actually. To be honest with you, I actually much prefer Thunderbolts than Defenders.
I think that like the Defenders would be really cool, like street level sort of style thing. You could essentially make it like a superhero version of the Warriors game.
Yeah.
Like just fucking Daredevil running about. Like it'd be pretty cool. Like I'd like something like that. I think the Defenders, rather than it being a team up, I'd like to see like individual games for them, like Daredevil by Sucker Punch. Yeah, fuck it, Sucker Punch. Naughty Dog can do Punisher. I know he's not a defender, but I'm just talking about street level.
Right.
If Telltale was still around, I'd have them do Jessica Jones.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Like that would be sick. Like I'd love that. So yeah, that's sort of like little ideas and stuff.
You know what the interesting thing that came out this week? Did you know Guardians of the Galaxy was originally going to have multiplayer? There was like an article.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I actually heard that.
That is interesting.
Which is a bit weird, isn't it? Because like obviously it's players Star-Lord, and now it's like we heard that multiplayer was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Which realistically, if there's multiplayer, it's not going to be a bunch of Star-Lords, is it?
No. I mean, it's really interesting that they did a complete 180 on it, right? Like, you know, oh, let's make it multiplayer, and now it's like, oh, you can only play Star-Lord. So at one point, it seems like there was an idea to make all these characters playable. So I wonder the moveset each of these characters are going to have, you know?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm pretty excited about it. You can assume that a lot of the things we saw in like when Guardians do moves when you command them to would be things that we would have been able to do if the game was multiplayer.
True.
But, you know, if the game does well, there's still room for Guardians too. You know, we can definitely add it.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Players
Drax, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hell yeah,
2.
dude. Hell
Players
yeah.
Groot, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Hell yeah.
Just
Hell
milk
yeah,
that
dude.
shit.
I'm gonna mispronounce your name, but the boat says that plasma gear drop is broken. Let me go to one of my videos and just leave a comment in there explaining everything, and then I'll look into it for you. I'll get it sent off. Or you can like come to my Discord and you can talk about it there, and we can figure out what's going on with you there.
What you mean though? If you can maybe go into a bit more detail, because obviously I've been relentless on the game grinds. So if there is, because there's some heroes that don't
have plasma gear,
certain plasma gear, so there's a very good chance that it's it definitely still like put it down or whatever, but there's a good chance that maybe you're playing with a hero that can't get plasma
gear.
What is a hero that can't get plasma?
Good question. Let me pull up the Avengers science.
Or are we just completely wrong?
No, you're 100% right. There are some characters who can't, right? So Black Widow can't get plasma. Or no, sorry, she can.
She can on a gun.
She can, sorry. How do I differentiate this?
Thor can't get plasma, right. Thank you, Harry. Wait. Oh, yeah, because he's got it on his ultimate, so Thor can't get plasma.
Oh, yeah,
And
so
Hulk
Black
can't get
Black Widow can get plasma on range, but can't get plasma on melee. Captain America can't get plasma on... Captain America can't get plasma on melee and ranged. Hulk and Iron Man can get it on both. Miss Marvel can't get it on either. Thor can't get it on either. Hawkeye can't get it on either. Yeah, it is a little confusing, right? If you don't know,
Wait, Hawkeye can't get it on either. I've got plasma on my
it,
bag of
it's
tricks.
it's blacked out on the science table. Send it over to those guys and let them update it.
It's weird. Yeah, I will do. I will do. I
Yeah,
posted a gear piece on your Discord the other day. It was like a potinator with split shot plasma.
then yeah, send it over to them because on the science table it says he can't. So, it is a confusing system if you're not totally entrenched in a lot of the nuance of it. It can be kind of confusing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely slowed down with the science table.
Yeah.
Since obviously the game was in a very bad place, back in the day. Yeah, I think now that it's picking up a little bit of pace, I'd like to see them get back into it. There's a lot of things that they've got to cover and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll answer this before Jazzy explodes, even though it's not Avengers related.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the Little Big Planet games return? I want to see like the true form. So Little Big Planet 4, Sackboy's Adventures, I didn't get into just because it looked like a really basic platformer. Having that variety and that customization again, like I want to play a shark run on fucking PS5 or a bomb survival, right? That's my thing. So I've answered that, Jazzy. So
and like the 5 people who understand what you were saying are clapping their hands right now.
Jazzy was like, "Thank God you answered that question, bless him."
All right, I know it's about
Sorry,
5
bro,
here, so I know
I
I said before 5 or at 5 we'll wrap up so you can get on with what you want to do tonight. So why don't you tell everybody what you're going to get on with tonight, and we'll wrap this thing up here.
Well, my friends, in about an hour's time. So I don't know when that'll be for the world, but for me,
It's
it'll
an
be
hour's
at
time.
night. So in an hour's time, top of the hour,
Yes.
I'll be streaming some Future Fight.
Wow.
So that'd be fun.
It's
I hope
exciting.
it goes well. I hope I don't lose my mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a smile in chat. You can go over there. You can have a little cheeky subscribe. I'll be live. I'll do Future Fight and stuff like that. You've put me on the spot now, so I can't pass out and go to sleep.
Nope.
You fucker. So if the stream's only 10 minutes, it's high rule as fuck. No, I'm joking. I'll be going for as long as I can with that one. They didn't answer my questions. Wait, Dark, what was your question? I'll do it. Fuck this guy. I'll answer you. Quick. Copy and paste it. Quick. Wait, there it is.
Do you think they would do more action-packed cinematic?
Yes, I think that'll be in Wolf of Wakanda.
Yes. Sorry. Guys, if we don't answer your questions, obviously Stardust and I are around throughout the week. We both have no lives, so feel free to hit us up wherever you can hit us up, and we can always. I'm always down to talk. Yeah, dude, of course, of course.
Absolutely.
So in an hour, you're gonna be playing Future Fight. How far in the game have you gotten?
Oh mate, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've been unlocking I unlocked Peggy Rogers, Captain America, where she's like fucking that, and I was like, oh my god, she's like 6 stars. So I go in with a level 0 to fight like a level 2, like on level 2, and I just get battered straight. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like,
so
6
you
stars,
need
what's going on?
So you need all the help possible, eh?
I needed to level. Basically, backseat me tonight, fellas. All right, backseat me because I need that help.
You need all the help in the world.
This
okay.
isn't my domain anymore. I'm not king here.
Nope, you sure aren't. For myself, guys, obviously, first and foremost, shout out to Greg who dropped the 100 bomb on the channel earlier. Once again, dude, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words of support as well that went with it. Also, guys, if you guys answer or ask some questions tonight and Stardust and I didn't get to them, feel free to join the Discord, man. Discord is around. Stardust and I are always around. Once again, we have no lives. I don't even know when I'm going back to work. So if any of you guys work for a company that's hiring, also hit me up for that. But in all honesty, guys, we'll definitely be around. So feel free to kind of hit us up and ask any questions. Once again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for the last 2 hours, as always. I think I'll be live over my Twitch channel tonight playing some Battlefield 4. I was playing Battlefield last night, actually, man, and I was having a lot of fun with it. Getting ready for 2042. Yeah, getting ready for 2042,
Mate,
man.
That game looks so fun.
Dude, it does.
crazy.
It looks pretty wild, man. So I'll be playing some Battlefield 4 tonight and hanging out there if anyone cares to join me. I'll be back live tomorrow actually over here playing some Marvel's Avengers. I'm gonna be grinding some champions levels. So basically, we're just gonna be kind of just playing whatever, and I'm just there to get champions levels for my Captain America. Actually, while we're here, did you talk about champion level grinding when you were answering the question about getting ready for OLTs and endgame and stuff?
Oh no, mate.
So,
No,
so
I don't do anything like that. I just play the
no,
game.
you just play the game.
I think thing is with me is I don't even bother putting the champions points into things I actually need. I just go top bottom because once I realized the changes aren't absolutely massive, I was like, fuck it.
Well,
You
there's
know
a
what I
few
mean?
that
Like,
there's a few that are beneficial.
there's ones that are better, yeah. But
Yeah.
like the way I see it is I'll just go for all of them. You know,
True.
just whatever. I do
Okay.
still grind it, but like
Yeah.
I don't kind of think
It's not like
16. I'd rather
yeah.
just
It's not like the like top of your mind like I need to do this stuff. It's just like I'll just kind of do it while I'm playing the game normally.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's fair. So that's it for me, guys. That's it. Tonight on Twitch playing Battlefield 4. Tomorrow back here tomorrow night, playing with you guys and doing some champion level stuff with Captain America, getting ready. And I think that's it. So once again, thank you guys for hanging out with Stardust and I. And we should be back next week. You know, it probably won't be of a banger of a week as this one, but before you go, have they fixed the range and melee for the champion levels? No, they have not fixed
Nah.
that. No.
Well, I don't know if they even plan to. I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
what the deal is
it depends.
there.
It depends on like where you fall on it, right? Is it a visual? Is it a UI thing, or is it like you know what I mean? Like it depends. And I
We'll
think
see. We'll see what they end up
that's the crux of the issue with those two things. In all honesty, what I would say is like do critical chance and critical damage, you know. And I think that's
those
probably
are the safest options. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that right there, if you're playing one that relies on heroic charge rate, and then real quick, defense and willpower, are those even worth it? The defense one might be, right? If I'm correct.
I've got to be honest. Normally, when I was looking at which ones I used, I watched the Tony Bing video. We did like the star rating for it.
I will grab that real quick
Which
then.
I have no idea. Like, I can't off the top of my. I'm just trying to like send you a reference.
That's fine. I will if you guys are interested, I will do that I will find that very quickly because I think I need to. Is that the broken or undertuned video?
I don't know, man. You know, this guy was like, "Yo, I'll let you get off. You got things you got to be doing," and now he's sat here taking bare time to go through a fucking video to keep me around. Look, you clingy bastard, please.
All right, well, I'll figure that out and I'll put it in the Discord tonight for anyone who's in the Discord. What is the best mission to grind with a level 145 Iron Man? Your dailies, mega hives, don't do last Avenger standing, tachyon rifts. You're basically just trying to get the gear that you want. And for that answer, Dark, I will refer you to the science table and you can figure out the gear that you need and then figure out the missions you need to run with it, man. Clinton, my bad, guys. My bad. All right, guys, that's it for the show today, this week. We will see you guys next week, as always, as long as there's stuff to talk about within Avengers. And thank you guys once again for all the support, all the love. And make sure you guys go support Stardust in an hour playing Future Fight. And you guys can talk to him and bug him. Stardust.
Ah, fuck! I hurt my toe. I was still. I pressed all my weight down on one of the handles on my like clothing shelf, and I like snapped off. I cut my toe.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your.
Ow! That fucking hurt.
We'll see you guys later, man. All right, later. Start to say bye.
Oh, my toe's bleeding.